Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, LaSabre, for affording me this opportunity to share information on the resources that are available to assist our small businesses, but also those who are interested in starting a business or they may be recovering from a disaster and still need assistance. So we always want you to remember that SBA is your small business advocate, and we provide assistance through two major programs: financial assistance and our non-financial assistance. And we'll talk about each of those and what's included. So, of course, when you think about financial assistance, access to capital is always an issue for many small businesses. So, with the support that one receives from the Small Business Administration, we're able to guarantee loans on your behalf. Our flagship program is the 7A loan program. So wherever you see 7A or 7J or 8A, that just has reference to that section of the Small Business Act that authorizes us to do what we do and basically provide that access to capital assistance to you. So under our 7A loan program, we have our Express loan program, the SBA Express loan program, where we have approved lenders who are participating in the Express program. And with that program, we can guarantee loans up to $500,000, and our guarantee to the Express lenders is 50%. And the reason it's 50% is because we allow them to make the decision, the credit decision, without input from SBA. We also have several lines of credit that's available to you. And with the lines of credit, it may be a seasonal line of credit to meet like seasonal needs. Say, for instance, you may be a business that participates in festivals. We have many festivals here, and you'll have those highs and lows in income, but also highs and lows in when you need to ramp up for that festival. And that's where an SBA seasonal line of credit can be a benefit to you. If you're a construction firm, we have our contractors line of credit program. And that contractors line of credit or builder's line of credit program is designed to assist those construction firms who will acquire property for resale. So basically, they're renovating that property, either commercial or residential, and they will have an almost immediate sale for that property. So that builder's line is not intended to be used for investment purposes. Basically, that you're going to acquire the property and hold on to it to rent it out. No, you can use that builder's line to refurbish or do alterations on that property, or it may be you're building a new property for resale. But you're in this business of building or construction. And then we have our contract line of credit. And that contract line of credit is where you may have a contract with a federal agency or state and local government agency, and it is an assignable contract. And you need to get that upfront money to get things started on that contract. So the way that contract line of credit program works is you would assign those proceeds to the lender, and the lender will disperse funds to you as needed as you submit invoices to them. And we have our new working capital line of credit program, which works similar to the contract line of credit program, except that there are two components. One of them is asset based. So basically, you can be advance funds on your assets, your receivables, or project-based, where you have a contract and you need to get that upfront funding. So that's where our CAP lines can be a benefit to you. Our Community Advantage loan program right now is on hold because we're actually doing some revamping of that program. But the Community Advantage program is to assist those individuals who have difficulty getting financing on reasonable terms. If you are engaged in international trade or exporting, then our Export Working Capital Line of Credit program and our International Trade Loan program could be of benefit to you. If you are looking to acquire owner-occupied property from which your business will be operated, then the 504 Certified Development Company Loan Program will be the best deal for you. And you may ask, why would I say it's the best deal? That's because with the 504 Certified Development Loan Program, that program carries a fixed interest rate throughout the maturity of the loan. And it can go up to $5 million. And if you are an existing business, your contribution toward the deal would be 10%. If you are a new business, meaning one that's not been in existence for more than 2 years, your contribution would be 15%. So you may ask, where does the remaining funds come from? 50% of the deal will come from a lender, and the remaining percentage, either the 40% or the 35%, will come from a certified development company. So generally, these loans are for long-term fixed assets like land and building, or if you want it, you have the land and you want to construct a building from which your business will be operating, then this would be the program for you. Or if you have a need for long-term equipment, if you're in construction or manufacturing and you need to purchase equipment for your business, this would be the program for you. SBA has approved investment companies who participate in our SBIC program, Small Business Investment Company Program. And these are investors that have been vetted by SBA to invest in different small businesses. So with this program, the investors get to choose the geographic area where they want to invest, also the types of businesses in which they want to invest, and the maturity of the business. So some will invest in new businesses and some will be looking for businesses that have been operating for a few years. And also they want to see that if you're an existing business, that you are earning a profit. Our microloan program is for businesses who have a need for financing up to $50,000. And SBA actually provides the funding to our micro lenders. They serve as our intermediaries and they loan the funds on our behalf. And our disaster assistance loan program, of course, is to help you recover from a disaster. And I'll talk a little bit more about that further down, as I will the Surety Bond Guarantee Program. But as LeSabre mentioned, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so that we can make sure we address them, because I want this to be beneficial to you. So when it comes to our 7A Guarantee Loan Program, generally, we can guarantee loans up to $5 million. and with a bank or non-bank lender, because we do work with credit unions as well as certified development companies. If the loan is up to 150,000, our guarantee is 85%. And if it's in excess of 150,000, our guarantee is 75%, as long as our exposure to any one borrower does not exceed 3.75 million. Now, you may ask, okay, well, how does SBA guarantee work? And when would SBA's guarantee be beneficial? So say, for instance, you approach the lender and you speak to the commercial loan officer. That's the person to whom you want to speak, the commercial loan officer. And you have your package together, your business plan, your loan proposal, and all of that, all of your financials. And they look at it, and the lender may say, oh, this is too much of a risk that we want to take. Let's bring in SBA to guarantee this loan. So our guarantee is intended to encourage the lenders to make the loan a loan to more small businesses, but also, to mitigate some of the risks that they may see that they're taking. So with our guarantee, the lender knows that in the event that you default on that loan, SBA is going to step up to the plate and cover its guaranteed portion of the outstanding balance of that loan. So say, for instance, the outstanding balance is $100,000, and this was a loan that exceeded the $150,000. Then the lender knows, hey, that they would only be on the hook for $75,000 of that outstanding balance. So that's how that guarantee works. Now, it is important to note that our guarantee is not intended to make a bad loan good, but rather, to give that extra cushion to the lender that they may be looking for to help mitigate the risk, but also to put you in a better position to get the financing that you need. As I mentioned, with our express loan, our maximum guarantee is 50%, and it works the same way as our regular 7(a) guarantee loans. So what's important to the lender and to SBA? Both of us want to have that assurance that you have repayment ability, that you're able to repay the loan from the earnings of the company. So if you're an existing business, of course, that's going to be determined by your tax returns. So we always share this secret with our small businesses and our entrepreneurs, that it's okay to pay taxes. Generally, there is an aversion to paying taxes. So you look at the tax return and there's a loss. So if there's a loss year after year after year that's reflected on your tax returns, then that raises the question of whether or not your business is generating sufficient revenue to repay the loan. So that's the number one thing that SBA and the lender looks for. So what about new businesses? So of course, in both cases, you'll be putting together projections, whether you're an existing business or a new business. So the lender will look at those projections, but also they'll, take into consideration any market research that you've done and your marketing strategies. So we encourage you that if you're looking at starting a business, to take advantage of the resources that's available through our Small Business Development Center, where they can actually conduct market research on your behalf and at no cost to you. That's one of the services that the SBDC can provide. We also are looking at good character. Basically, we're looking at how well you are taking care of liabilities and debt that you have now. So yes, the lender will pull your personal credit report. We also get the question, okay, well, if I have business credit, why does the lender have to look at my personal credit? And that's because you are the business. So yes, when we're looking at character, we'll be looking at your personal credit report to see how you're taking care of your current responsibilities. We get a question sometimes, do I have to have a business plan? Well, yes, you do need to have a business plan to present to the lender. It does not have to be something that's 30, 40, or 60 pages. It can be concise as long as it's clear and it presents a good picture of your company. And that's another area where our Small Business Development Center can assist you. They cannot do the plan for you. However, they can provide some guidance and then feedback once you develop that plan, because you want it to be your plan. And on SBA's website at www.sba.gov, there are some sample business plans there that you can use. What do you know about the business that you're proposing to start or that you're in? So we look for your management expertise and technical expertise and managerial capability to operate the business. Of course, that's going to come from your resume. So yes, you will need to submit your resume with your application. How committed are you to the success of this business? So we'll look at how much time you're devoting to the business. That does not mean that we want you to quit your day job. So there are those who will get upset with their employer and they'll say, well, why am I making all this money for my employer? I can do this for myself. Don't quit your day job. It's okay to start your business as a side hustle until you build your business up enough to support you. So yes, we're looking at how committed you are, but also that commitment will be demonstrated by how much you have invested in the business. So you will need to have some skin in the game. Your owner investment. How much have you put up toward the business? Of course, sufficient funds to operate the business after you get the loan, and then collateral. Now, SBA will not deny a loan solely for lack of collateral. We are not a collateral lender. However, SBA and the lender do expect that you would pledge whatever collateral is needed and available to secure the loan. So if you're in construction, under our access to capital piece, we also have our surety bond guarantee program. And what this does is it enables you as a small business to get the bonding that you need if you're experiencing difficulty in securing bonding. So we've approved sureties who participate in our surety bond guarantee program, and they actually will write the bonds for you with SBA's guarantee. So we can provide bid bonds or bid guarantees, payment bonds, and performance bonds. So of course, the payment bond is the bond that's put up to ensure that you're going to pay the employees, your subcontractors, anyone from whom you're leasing equipment, and also those from whom you're purchasing materials. The performance bond guarantees that you're going to do what the contract says in accordance with those requirements. Our guarantee pretty much serves the same purpose as our guarantee for loans. It gives the sureties the incentive to provide bonding to you, because the surety knows that if you default on that contract, that they can come to SBA for us to provide the funding up to our guaranteed portion to get that contract completed. Basically, it ensures the surety against major losses. It in turn strengthens your ability to get the bonding that you need, knowing that SBA is backing that bond, and thereby increasing your access to contracting opportunities with our assuming a percentage of the loss. So we can guarantee bonds for contracts up to 6.5 million. And if it's a federal contract, we can guarantee bonds up to 10 million. We've simplified the application process. So for our bonds, we have what we call our quick apps. So, and that's for bonds up to 500,000. So with the quick apps, it reduces the amount of paperwork that you have to submit. And also you get a quick turnaround on that bond, usually within 24 hours. With the prior approval program, prior approval means that the surety will send the application to SBA for our approval. And with preferred surety, this program, the surety bond company is able to go on and obligate SBA. So for prior approval, if the bond is up to 100,000, our guarantee to the surety is 90% for firms that are 8A certified and small disadvantaged businesses. And then it's 80% on all other bonds, regardless of the amount. For the preferred surety, because we give them a little bit more authority, our guarantee is 70%. And where this bullet says SBA does not, bonds do not cover subcontractors, what that means is that you may be a subcontractor on a contract. We can guarantee the bond for you. However, for your subcontractors, they would need to get their own bond. So that's why we encourage you to have your subcontractors, if you're a construction firm, bond back to you. So with prior approval, as I mentioned, for that, it requires SBA's review. Our turnaround time is 2 days. And for the quick apps, as I mentioned, contracts up to 500,000, our turnaround time is 24 hours. So that's pretty quickly that we're able to process those applications. So to get a list of our approved sureties, you can go to www.sba.gov/OSG for Office of Surety Guarantees. If you have an immediate need, you can email me and I can give you a listing of those sureties that are writing bonds in Louisiana that have been, pretty supportive of our small businesses. So I've talked about our access to capital programs. Now I want to switch to our non-financial assistance programs. And the biggest program under this is our government contracting assistance. Under this program, SBA works with the federal agencies to ensure that our small businesses are participating in that $750 billion marketplace, $750 billion that we estimate the government spends annually. We want to see you be successful in winning prime contracts where you are the prime. Also, we have our subcontracting network where you're able to participate with those small business liaison officers with the major primes to get subs. Our certificate of competency program, or COC, that's your protection as a small business. What that means is that if you bid on a federal contract and your bid is responsible and responsive, and you're the lowest bidder, the contracting officer can't just throw your bid out. If they determine that you are non-responsible, meaning that you don't have the capacity or capability to perform that contract, they have to come to SBA and ask us if we will issue a certificate of competency to you. And if we do, they have to award that contract to you. We're also the size individuals where we maintain the size standards. So if for some reason, you're growing and you bid on a contract and the contracting officer has reason to believe that you're other than small, then they will come to SBA and ask us to issue a size determination. And we work with you through the All Small Mentor Protege program. We have our Small Business Innovative Research Program. So we get a lot of questions about grants. And with the grants, with the federal government, the majority of those are awarded through the Small Business Innovative Research Program, SBIR. So you're actually responding to a solicitation that a federal agency has posted, and you can see those on grants.gov. However, if you want to see a listing of the agencies that are participating in the SBIR program, you can go to SBA's website at sba.gov/SBIR. And at last count, there were 11 federal agencies participating in the SBIR program. So our resource partners are our small business development centers, the Service Corps of Retired Executives, our women's business centers, and our Veterans Business Outreach Center, or VBOC. These centers receive funding from SBA to provide assistance to you at no cost. So we encourage you to reach out to them to take advantage of those free resources that they have to offer. With the SCORE program, this is actually mentors. Some of them are retired, some of them are still working, but they volunteer their services to SBA's clients. So if you're looking to start a business, you can sit down and talk to them, bounce your ideas off of them. What they attempt to do is to match you with someone that has some knowledge of the business in which you're in and maybe looking to grow, or that you're looking to start. With our women's business resource centers, they don't just work with women, they work with men as well. So the Urban League hosts both of our centers, the one here in New Orleans and the one in Baton Rouge. So we encourage you to take advantage of those services. And our small business development centers are located at different universities. So the one for the greater New Orleans region is located at Xavier University. Our 7J Management and Technical Assistance Program, that's the program that allows us to award cooperative agreements to other small businesses, to nonprofit organizations, to colleges and universities. So right now, well, it's closed now, but we had a notice of funding opportunity that was available to nonprofits, to small businesses, institutions of higher education, for providing assistance to manufacturers, management and technical assistance, counseling and training. And that notice of funding opportunity closed on May 2027. But if you're looking to see what other notices of funding opportunities SBA may have coming out under the 7J program, that's going to be available on grants.gov. That's where we have to post those. So I want to talk to you about our federal certifications programs. SBA handles certification for our 8A Business Development Program, our HubZone Empowerment Contracting Program, our Woman-Owned Small Business or WOSB program, and Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business program. So with these certifications, they are intended to narrow the playing field for you when you are pursuing federal government contracts. We have an electronic system on my SBA certifications where you can go in and apply for any of the certifications that we offer. You do have to have an active registration in SAM, the System for Award Management, and on Thursday, June 5th, I'm working with the Office of, I think it's Economic Development or Entrepreneur Development with Margaret McGee. And I'm doing a detailed presentation on doing business with the government and also how to register in SAM and how the government buys. But notice this link here for should I apply? And if you click that find out link, it actually brings you to a link where you would complete certain questions. And at the end of your completing that, it tells you which programs it is for which you may be eligible. And then from there, you can log in and start completing the application. So we do get certified sessions or workshops where we actually walk you through completion of your SAM registration, or if you're active in SAM, completion of your certification for participating with the federal government. So for the 8A program, this is a business development and contracting program. That allows those businesses that are owned, controlled, and daily managed by socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. This program is race and gender neutral, so anybody can apply for participation in the Section 8A program. You must have been in business for at least 2 full years in your primary industry classification, meaning that you've earned revenues within those 2 years and that you filed tax returns for those 2 years. Each applicant is required to submit a social disadvantage narrative. Your adjusted personal net worth cannot exceed $850,000 and your adjusted gross income as an individual for the past 3 years cannot exceed $400,000 as an average. The total fair market value of all of your assets cannot exceed $6.5 million. And socially and economically disadvantaged individuals who are U.S. citizens must own at least 51% of the company. You're certified for 9 years. You are assigned a business opportunity specialist who will work with you, providing management, technical assistance, and counseling, and also working with you to identify contracts with the federal government. If you're certified 8A, you're automatically certified as a small disadvantaged business. So what's the benefit? We can award sole source contracts to you for services, construction, and supplies up to $4.5 million, and for manufacturing, $7 million. Sole source. You're not competing. We select you for that contract. You submit a proposal and you negotiate a fair and reasonable price with the federal agency. If the contract exceeds those thresholds, we accept them for 8A competition, but you're only competing against other 8A firms. For our HubZone program, this is a contracting program. There is no minimum length of time in business requirement. There is no full-time day-to-day management for this program like there is for 8A and for the Woman-Owned Small Business program. There are three components: the federal government that sets the contracts aside, the small businesses that are located in those areas where it's high unemployment and low income individuals, and that HubZone community that can benefit from the creation of jobs and investment. So you must be a small business. If you are certified as HubZone, you have the benefit of the 10% price evaluation preference in full and open competition. So what that means is that if you bid on a contract that's not set aside for any small business program, you're HubZone certified, and your bid is within 10% of the successful offerer, and that offerer is not another small business, the contract will be awarded to you. That's how that 10% price evaluation preference works. So this is just an idea of what areas qualify as HubZone. We do look at census tracts, non-metropolitan parishes for Louisiana, Indian land that's recognized by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, a disaster area, and also governor's designated areas. So we had 25 additional areas that Governor John Bel Edwards was successful in getting designated as HubZone. And of course, redesignated areas, those that are losing their HubZone designation. So the basic criteria for all these programs: you have to be a small business and you have to be a U.S. citizen. For HubZone, at least 51% of the company has to be owned and controlled by those individuals who are U.S. citizens, or a community development corp, agricultural co-op, Native Hawaiian organization, or an Alaskan Native tribe, or a Native American tribe. Your principal place of business, which is the office where the greatest number of your employees work, must be in a HubZone area, and at least 35% of your employees must reside in a HubZone area. Home-based businesses can qualify for this program. So say, for instance, you're operating from your home. Your home is located in a designated HubZone area, and it's just you and one other employee. So you would qualify as a HubZone employee, and that means that you have at least 50% of your employees residing in a HubZone. So you do qualify as an employee for HubZone purposes, whether or not you take a salary. For our Woman-Owned Small Business program, this program was put in place to level the playing field for our women-owned businesses. This program requires that you devote full time to the day-to-day operation. You cannot have outside employment. Women must own, control, and daily manage the business. At least 51% ownership. They must be the highest compensated and hold the highest officer position, and they cannot be engaged in outside employment during normal business hours of businesses in that industry. The same thing applies for economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. However, we will look at your financial condition. So if your adjusted net worth is less than $850,000, your adjusted gross income is less than 400,000 as an average for the past 3 years, and the total fair market value of all of your assets are less than 6.5 million, then we encourage you to apply for the Woman-Owned Small Business Program, because you would automatically be certified as for the economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business, because you would automatically be certified as a woman-owned small business. So what this program does is it allows you to be able to bid on contracts that are set aside either for woman-owned small business, or if you're certified economically disadvantaged, as economically on those economically disadvantaged set aside contracts. So for our veteran small business program, of course, the veterans must own at least 51% of the company. They must control the company on a daily basis. But also for this program, if it's a service disabled vet, and that service disabled vet is permanently and totally disabled, and they're unable to manage the daily business operation, the spouse or the permanent caregiver may be able to qualify. However, this must be designated by, that person must be designated by the VA as that permanent caregiver of the disabled vet. So, of course, you can determine your eligibility. These are the steps to determine eligibility. And basically, it's that 51% ownership, management, and control, and that you have an active registration in SAM. Now, a pitfall that we find with all businesses, even though this says vet search, is that we're unable to determine the ownership of the company. So just know that it must be direct ownership, meaning that it must be by an individual, a natural person. If the ownership is through a trust, that trust must be revocable, and the individual upon whom eligibility is based must be the grantor, the trustee, and the current beneficiary of the trust. The business cannot be owned by a holding company. Another area for all businesses is determining the control. So if you are an LLC, we will use your operating agreement to determine the control. If you are a corporation, we will use your bylaws to determine control. And of course, if you're a partnership, we will use the partnership agreement to determine control. There are a number of templates on the internet that you can use in developing operating agreements, partnership agreements, and bylaws. What we encourage you to do is to review those templates carefully to make sure that they are tailored to your business, and that you know what is included in those templates. With our veterans, what we find when there is an issue with their certification is because something does not match in the VA's files. So the name, the date of birth, or the personal residence doesn't match the VA files. So what we encourage our veterans to do is to go to www.va.gov and sign into their profile to make sure that all of their information with VA matches and with the information that they're putting on their application. And if they need to make corrections, that they make those corrections before submitting the application. So why is all this important when we're talking about the federal government? I mentioned $750 billion, okay? That's the annual spend. 25% of that is to go to small businesses. So we're talking about billions of dollars. Of that, there's a goal for small disadvantaged businesses, which includes 8A of 5%. For our service disabled veteran-owned small businesses, 5%. Women-owned small businesses, 5%. And for our Hub Zone program, 5% goal. And this is how well we did in 2023 and 2022. We're still waiting on the final numbers for fiscal year 24. But notice that even though in fiscal year 23, the goal was 23%, 28% went to small businesses for almost $179 billion. For small disadvantaged businesses, the goal was 12%. We did 12.1% for over 76 billion. For a woman-owned small business program, the goal was 5%, but we only did 4.91% for almost $31 billion. We don't round up. 5% is 5%, right? For our service disabled vets, the goal was 3%, and we did over 5% for almost 32 billion. And for Hub Zone, we didn't meet that 3% goal. We did 2.78% for over 17.5 billion. So we always ask, why do business with the government? As I mentioned, we're the biggest procurer of goods and services. But notice for Louisiana, almost 3.6 billion went to businesses in Louisiana, and almost 2.3 billion went to small businesses. And for the government, you know we're going to pay you if you perform the contract in accordance with the terms and conditions. This is the breakdown for Louisiana. As I mentioned, almost 2.3 billion went to small businesses. Small disadvantaged businesses received approximately 544 million. Our women-owned small businesses received approximately 152 million. Veteran-owned small businesses, 148.5 million. Service disabled vets, over 119 million. Hub Zone, almost 114 million. And for our 8A program, almost 269 million. And I will add that for the 8A program, the majority of those contracts were awarded on a sole source basis. So you can see that within Louisiana, we do well with meeting and exceeding our goals. So this is my contact information. I encourage you to reach out to me if you have any questions.